G'day folks, it's Cortezerino, and today we are building an item sorter. Yes, I know, another one. This is the improved version of my Dustless multi-item sorter. This is version number 2. And to say that this is an improved version is actually a little bit misleading. It's not necessarily an improved version because the redstone takes up a little bit more space than the previous version. The other one was more compact, but this is my preferred version because I just love this interface. So this is the previous version of my Dustless multi-item sorter, and as you can see, the redstone is super duper compact, and we have tons and tons and tons of chests in here for storage. But I didn't actually like this interface. I mean, it fits in a lot into a small space, but I like things to look pretty. So in version 2, I've separated the individual sorting modules by one block so we can have our chests sideways like this with the display blocks beside them. And I just think it looks really nice. Okay, I'll give you a very brief explanation on how this sorting system works. And I'll begin by explaining multi-item sorters because there's always someone who's watching the video who doesn't know what they are. So what you do is you fill up every slot in the chest with the items that you want to enter that chest. So when you put items into the input chest down here, it'll flow through the system looking for a chest that it's able to enter. So you can see here, these stairs are able to stack with the stairs already inside, and so they will fill up there. And if you have a chest and you leave empty slots, then any item at all will go into them. So you want to make sure you have every slot in the chest filled up. And this sorting system is made up of individual modules that look like this. So let's throw some stuff into the input chest. So basically they go into the dropper tower. The comparator picks it up and starts up the torch tower, and that sends all our items up to the very top. And it's nice and silent. But while the torch tower is powering the dropper item elevator, it is also alternating the power of these lamps, and we have comparators here picking that up, and they alternate the power between these hoppers, allowing items enough time to sit in the hopper and check if they can enter the chest. And some people have mentioned in the comments that it looks like it's running a little bit slow. Well, unlike other multi-item sorters like this one actually does 2 items at a time, so it's actually running twice as fast as it seems to be. So the one downside about this design is that it only operates while there are items in the dropper item elevator, so as soon as it sends the last item to the very top, the system will stop sorting, so you always have a few items left in these hoppers. And no one likes that. You don't want to have a whole bunch of items stuck in the hoppers that you're not able to access. So what we've done to solve that problem is that when the first sorting system here shuts off and the items pass into the second one, we have another torch tower here that will continue to power the previous section, so all the items get sucked along behind. And that means we have far, far fewer items stuck in the hoppers behind, and at any time you can just put in 16 items into the input chest, just put in some named items, I call them sorting system or something like that, and they will not be able to enter a chest, and they will go through the entire system and end up in your output chest. And when it goes through, it actually cleans out all the items, so everything will find a place in the chest. So that's just something you can do every now and then, put 16 items in and let it clean out your system. And the second thing we do to combat items getting stuck in the hoppers behind, every single one of these chests is a trapped chest, so you're absolutely free to open it up and take items out, and you don't have to worry about something coming into the chest while you're doing that. So in this tutorial, I will show you how to build this entire storage room. It has 96 double chests, I think, so that's lots and lots of storage. And we also have some lines of barrels here for non-stackable items. And you might have noticed a door right here in the middle. This is just a door to nowhere. I thought it'd be nice to have a little hallway out there, so you might want to put an AFK room in there, or what I'm going to do is put a super smelter in there. And in this version of the sorting system, I've got blocks next to the chests to say what's in the chest. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can have walls like this and just put item frames on them to tell you what's inside if you like this cleaner layout. And of course, you can do a combination of item frames and blocks. You can lay this out however you like. And if you go down to the video description, you will find a link to a materials list, and that list will contain everything that you can see right here. And you don't need to use the same blocks that I used for the floor. Feel free to decorate this however you like. And that materials list will also have the materials you need for this optional redstone lamp, and that will just light up when the system is running. I say that's optional because the lamp does include some redstone dust here to power it, but that is the only dust in the system, and it just turns on once when the system's running, and then it turns off. There is absolutely no lag-inducing, flashing redstone dust in this design. So that's enough talking, let's get started on the tutorial. Okay, the first thing you need to do is to get your copper bulbs and put them out so they can oxidize. And the reason we are using the oxidized copper bulbs is that they put out less light than the regular ones. So then we can just put a few frog lights around, and that will stop us from getting lag-inducing lighting updates. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is build the floor for our storage room, and this floor will be 16 blocks by 23, and you can build this out of any materials that you like. And I've just built mine out of stripped oak logs with a border of beehives. So once you've got your floor in place, I want you to come to each corner, and just with dirt blocks, we're going to build down 1, 2, 3 blocks. So go ahead and do this in each corner. Okay, grab your building block of choice. I'm using white concrete, but you can use stone bricks if you like. This is just for redstone. And what we're going to do is we're going to build around underneath with our blocks of choice, just turning the corner when you get underneath your dirt blocks. And we're going to do this on every side except the front. So this will be the entrance to our storage room, so we don't have a line there, just on the other 3 sides. Okay, now what we're going to do is build these rectangles just out from these 3 lines of concrete that I put in. So the way to do this is come just below our dirt and place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks. And we'll do the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then look from this direction, and we're just going to connect these like that. So this is how you should look when you're done. And this isn't actually necessary for the design, but when you're building in survival, these will be your walkways so you can get around and just easily build everything. Okay, staying with your building block of choice, we're going to look from the front of the build. So this is the entrance to our storage room. Come along here, and we're going to put a line of blocks at the front like so. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Then you can swing around to this back corner. And what we're going to do is just run a line of blocks like that in the corner. And of course, we're going to come along here and do the exact same thing. Then you can come back to one of these front sections. What we're going to do is we're going to skip 2 blocks, then place a block, skip 2, place a block, and just keep doing that until you get to the end, and you should have a 2-block gap. And then we're just going to run these all the way along like so. And once you've done that, go to the opposite side, right over here, and we're going to do the exact same thing. And then you can come around to the back, and we're going to be doing something similar, but we need to leave a 3-block gap in the middle for our doorway. So what we're going to do is, starting from the side, we're going to skip 2 blocks, place 1 block, 2 blocks, then a 3rd. Then you can come to the other side, skip 2, place 1 block, 2 blocks, and a 3rd, and that gives you your 3-block gap in the middle. then you can just connect these. Okay, grab your waxed oxidized copper bulbs, and we're just going to place a bunch of these. So starting from the front left, what we're going to do is place one right there, then another, and we're going to continue placing them in these spots. When you get to the corner, we're going to place two like that, and then we will come around here and we're still placing our bulbs. When you get to the corner here, place two right there, and then we'll just continue to place them all the way along. And then grab some stone buttons, and we're just going to place them on the front like this. When you get to this corner, just place two like that, and we'll continue to place these all the way along. We'll do two right there and keep going. And this is just for maintenance, so if you ever accidentally leave the area while your system's running, the way to fix it is to come down here and check your lamps, and I'll explain that a little bit later, but those buttons will help you reset it if you accidentally break it. So each of these bulbs will be an individual storage module, so I'll show you how to build one and you can copy it to the others. So just above our bulb, we're going to place two temporary blocks, then we'll break that one and come underneath and look up and place an observer block. Then we're going to grab a redstone comparator and put your back to the storage room, and we're going to come out like that. So it's facing away from our storage. That's going to run into a frog light. Now this can be a jack-o'-lantern or a shroom light, but make sure it is a block that will conduct the redstone signal, so you could not use a sea lantern here. And yes, it does need to be a light block just to cut down on the lighting updates. Then after that, we're going to do a repeater, and that will be on a 4-tick delay, and that will run into a block. Then grab a dropper, come up above, and just next to our dirt, we're going to place the dropper like that, then hold shift and place a note block beside it. And this is how it should look when you're done, so just continue to build these on each one of these modules. So the next step is to break the temporary block, and we're going to place a comparator on the observer and just make sure it's facing away from the dropper. Then we're going to grab an observer block, look up at our note block and place it like so. And then what I want you to do is press your button and make sure that lamp is on. So when the copper bulb is on, that means the system is off. So then we're going to place a redstone torch on top of that block. We'll put a block on top and then another torch facing toward our note block. And you'll notice if you turn the bulb off, a clock will start up, and that's really annoying, so we'll turn it off. Okay, now we're going to connect all our modules with hoppers. So starting at the front left-hand side, I want you to look at that dropper, and we're going to place two hoppers like that. So we're just connecting our droppers, and we'll do the same thing here, and again, and again, and then when you get to the end, you can just stop right there. And I want you to do the same thing on each side. So you see we've placed our hoppers in there all the way along until we get to the last one, and the same thing here. And just notice the direction of the arrows in the hoppers. That's the way you want them to face, so our items will start over there and travel all the way around in that direction. Okay, so we built all of these modules the same because it was easier for the tutorial. But now we actually need to change 4 of them. So looking from the front, we're going to come along to this one on the left-hand side and place a block next to the dropper with a temporary block right there. Then I want you to swing around to this side, and looking at this one right here, we'll do the same thing. So next to the dropper, we'll do a block, then a temporary block. Now if you come back to the front, we're going to come along to this side, and next to this dropper, we'll do a block and a temporary block. And if we swing around to this side, we're going to do the same thing right here. So a block and a temporary block. And these are the ones we're going to change. So I'll show you how to do one, and you can copy it to the others. Okay, so everywhere where we placed these 2 blocks, we are going to pick up some items. So you can see there's the comparator right here. Pick that up. Pick up the observer, the button, the copper bulb, and that comparator. So what we're going to do now is come underneath the dirt block and place an observer looking up. Then you can remove the temporary block, and we're going to place a comparator facing away from that block. Now underneath the observer, we're going to put a block. Then look at your frog light from the side. We'll put our comparator leading into it from that direction. Then you can put your copper bulb behind it and come around to this side. Place a stone button there and you can switch it on and that will turn off your clock. So we're going to do the exact same thing for each of these. So starting underneath your temporary block to your observer and just repeat what we did before. And when you're done, this is how it should look. So at the front left, it looks just like that. And on this side, it looks pretty much the same. If we come around to the back here, this is how this one is set up. And if we go to the other corner, it will look like that. Okay, so we changed these so we can put in some input and output chests. So looking from the front, we're going to come along to this first one we changed. And looking from this side, we're going to hold shift and place a hopper leading into the dropper with a hopper leading into that one. And next to that, we will do a frog light. And on top of the frog light and on top of that hopper, we're going to create a double chest. And that is a trapped chest. So we can put items in without worrying about accidentally putting in something we don't want to go into the storage system. So then each side of our chest, we're going to place a block. This can be any block you like. I'm just using cyan terracotta, but you might want to make it match the floor. And just in front, so we can access the chest, we're going to put in 2 right way upstairs. Okay, looking from the front again, I want you to come to the back left-hand corner. And right here, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to put in our 2 hoppers, a frog light, and our double trapped chest. We'll do a block on each side, and then our 2 stairs. Okay, the next one we're going to do is in this corner over here. So we're going to look at this one that we changed, and it is exactly the same. So our 2 hoppers, frog light, the double trapped chest with the block each side, and our 2 stairs. So those 3 chests are for feeding items in, and we're just putting in 3 because maybe you've got all wood in your inventory and all your wood is in this part of the storage system. It makes no sense to feed it in here because it'll take so long to get to it, so you could feed it all into that chest instead. It just speeds up the sorting a little bit. So we've got one more to do, but this one is our output chest, so it's going to be a little bit different. So come along to the right-hand side, and what we're going to do is put 2 frog lights right there, and we'll put our trap chest on top. Now, on top of that dropper, we're going to do a dropper facing toward us, and then we'll put a hopper leading into the side of that chest, and on this side, we'll put in our block of choice, and then you can go ahead and place in your 2 stairs. Okay, looking from the front, I want you to come along to the back left-hand corner and just look at it from the same direction I am. What I want you to do is pick up this dropper right here, and we're going to replace it so it's now facing sideways, so the items will come along into there and then get spat out. So then what we're going to do is we're going to lead a hopper into that one and another one right there. So now our line of items will continue. And you can put 2 composters on those. So if we come around to the other back corner, we're going to do the exact same thing right here. So pick up that dropper and we're going to place it on its side. Then we'll do 1, 2 hoppers with 2 composters on top. And we have one last dropper we need to replace. So come along to the back of the build and come to where we've got this 3 block gap. So we've got 3 hoppers right here. This one we're going to pick up and we're going to place it on its side like that, so the items will flow into it and they'll get spat into these hoppers here and just continue along. Okay, staying where we are just above these 3 hoppers, I want you to grab some oak planks, or you could use any block that matches your flooring. So mine's all oak, so I'm using oak planks. And then on each side of this plank, we're going to put a composter above our hoppers, and that's just to cut down on a little bit of lag. Then we'll put 2 stone blocks each side. Now on the right-hand side, we're going to put 2 frog lights, then a stone block and 2 frog lights. These don't have to be frog lights. These ones can be sea lanterns if you want them to be. And on the left-hand side, we'll do 2 frog lights, a stone, 2 frog lights, a stone, and 2 frog lights and a stone. And each line of our double chests will be sitting on top of the frog lights, so they're just to provide light for our storage room. And then looking from the front, we're going to swing around to the left-hand side, and we're going to do 2 frog lights and a stone, 2 frog lights and a stone. We're just going to keep repeating this pattern until we get to the end. And then looking from the front again, come around to the right-hand side, and we're going to do the same thing. So starting with our 2 frog lights, we're just going to do that pattern like so. Okay, looking from the front again, I want you to swing around to the left-hand side, and I want you to come to the very last module. So that is this one right here. What we're going to do is put a block on top of that torch, and then a torch just above our note block, and then grab a junk block of choice and just put it there. This is to remind us that we are finished building with this module. This module is 100% done. So later when I show you how to build these modules, that block will just remind you not to build there. So that one's finished, but these ones still have more to go. And we're going to build 3 more of these. So I want you to swing around to the back now, and starting from the right-hand side, we're going to count to the 4th module. So 1, 2, 3. On the 4th module, we're going to build the same thing. So a block above the torch, a torch above the note block, and your junk block. And then you can come along to the very last module, and we'll do the same thing. So block, torch, and junk block. And then come along to where our output chest is. So if we're looking from the front, it's the module just on the right. We're going to do the same thing here. So block, torch, and a junk block. Okay, now we're going to go back to building our individual modules. So everything that I build right here, I want you to copy the same thing to all the others, except of course where we have our junk blocks. Those are finished, so don't build it on those ones. So I want you to look from the same direction I am, and we're looking at the dropper that's facing straight up. On top of that, we're going to place 7 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And all of those are facing straight up. Then next to our note block, we're going to place a block right there with a comparator. Make sure it's facing toward the floor of our storage room. And then on top of that hopper, we'll place a composter. Then look from this direction, hold shift, and we're going to do a hopper leading into the comparator. So you can see the arrow is pointing toward the comparator. And that's all I want you to do. So just go ahead and repeat the same thing over and over. So we'll start with our 7 droppers. Then we do the block next to the note block with a comparator on top. Then a composter. Then looking from this direction, a hopper. So just continue to build that all the way along. So this is how it should look when you're done. So on the left and right hand sides, you will have 5 dropper towers. And then on the back wall, you'll have 2 sets of 3. So once again, what I built here for one of these modules, I want you to copy the same thing to the others. So this time we're going to stand on our storage room floor, and just diagonally out from that dropper tower, we're going to place a trapped chest and turn it into a double chest. And we're going to be placing 6 of these in total. So we're building them all the way up to the same height as our dropper tower. So that's how it should look when you're done. So the next one will be on the 2 frog lights. So then what we're going to do is come around to the back, and just above our composter, we're going to place cyan terracotta, 6 of those, because it's the same color as hoppers and it just looks a little nicer from the front. Then in this side, we're just going to lead hoppers into each of these chests, so 6 hoppers in total. Then grab a regular chest this time. We're going to place 1 on top of the dropper tower and turn it into a double chest so it goes above our hoppers. So the items will come up and then go down. And this is how it will look when you're done. So 5 rows of chests on each side and 2 lines of 3 at the back. So we're going to continue building our modules. So what I built here, copy to every single module, except of course for this one that has the junk block on it. Don't build on that, that one is finished. So the first thing we're going to do is place a block on top of that torch with a torch facing toward the back, and we're just going to build a torch tower. So we'll do another block, torch on this side, another block and a torch on this side. Then we're going to put a frog light on top. So this will prevent the lighting updates, but just make sure it is a light block that will conduct redstone. So jack-o'-lanterns are also okay. So then we're going to do another torch on this side with a block, torch and a block, torch with a block on top, and then a torch at the back. And we're going to finish when we're at the same height as our dropper tower. So now what we're going to do is place 4 torches on the front, and you'll hear the droppers click. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's our torch tower. Go ahead and build the same thing for each module. So this is how you should look when you're done with these torch towers built up on each module, except where we've got those junk blocks. So now we're going to continue building our modules. So what I built here, copy to the others. So come along to this single comparator we've got facing into the hopper. Just above this, we're going to place a block against that hopper, and another one, and another one. And each of these blocks will have a comparator on top. So they're just separated by one block. Then what we're going to do is behind all 4 comparators, we're going to place a block. So 1 there, 2, 3, and 4. So we're not going to put anything on the top block, but on the other 3, we're going to put 3 comparators just like that. So now grab your waxed oxidized copper bulbs, and just below this comparator here, we're going to place our first bulb. Then we'll do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So go ahead and do that for each module. And once you've built all of those up, you can go ahead and break these junk blocks. We don't need them anymore. Okay, looking from the front, I want you to come around to the left-hand side, and you can see these blocks down the bottom with the torch on top. We're going to place repeaters just next to those on every single one of them, except for this one at the front. So this one right here, just ignore that. But for all the others, we're going to put our back to the storage room and place a repeater. So 5 repeaters in total. Then we'll come around to the back wall and we'll do the same thing. We're going to skip that first one, but behind the next 1, 2, 3, we're going to place repeaters. Then we're going to skip the next one, but on the next 3, we're going to place repeaters. And then finally come around to this wall. Once again, we're going to skip that first one, but we're going to place repeaters all along here, just like so. So you might remember from the start of the video, I said when the dropper item elevator turns off, then the individual module will stop sorting items and items will get stuck in the hoppers. What we're going to do now is build a torch tower on this side of the module that will continue to power it, so it will suck all the items along. And this torch tower needs to be on a bit of a delay from this one so it matches up with these torches and doesn't break our system. So we're going to build one of these in front of each of these repeaters, and it will be exactly the same all the way around. So what I built here, copy to the others. So what we're going to do, the very first thing we're going to do is put the repeater on a 3-tick delay. Don't forget that. So we've already placed them all. Just remember to place them all on 3 ticks of delay. And then we're going to place a block in front. And if we're looking at our module from this side, we're going to place a redstone torch on the right-hand side of that block. And then we'll place a repeater in that direction. No need to put any delay on that one. That's going to lead into a block with a redstone torch on top, then a block above that and another redstone torch, and you see it'll turn our light on. Then what we're going to do is place a block on top and come to the inside. We're going to place a torch there with a block on top, and then on this side we'll place a torch. So we're just building another torch tower. So right here we'll do a frog light so it matches that one. Then on this side, a torch, block on top, then torch on that side, and a block. torch on this side and a block, and finish with a torch right there. And if you place them in the same order I did, you should have all your lamps ready to go. So you want one on, then off, on, off, and just continuing that pattern. If you accidentally place a torch twice, you can just put a button there to turn it on to get that pattern. So just go ahead and continue that all the way around. Don't forget to put that repeater on a 3-tick delay. Okay, now we're going to start prettying up our storage room. So I want you to come along to the back wall where we've got this little walkway, and we'll put our doorway in. So on top of those oak planks, I'm going to do a pressure plate, then an iron door. Then each side of the iron door, I'm going to place 6 stripped spruce logs. I'm using spruce, but you can use any block that you like. Then above the door, I'll do an upside down spruce stair, then a crafting table with an ender chest and another upside down spruce stair. I'm going to put a button on each side to open our door, and just behind the ender chest I might put a cyan terracotta so it just looks a little bit nicer. So the gaps in between our chests are for placing the block to say what goes in that chest, but there are a few spots where we're not going to have anything at all, so we're going to put barrels in there just for a bit of extra storage. So looking from the front, you can come along to this corner over here, and just to the right of these chests, we're going to place 6 barrels, and they can be for non-stackable item storage. Then if you look at the back wall, just to the left of this door, this is another spot where we don't need any blocks, so you can fill that up with barrels. And if you look at this back corner over here, just to the right-hand side of these chests, you can also place 6 barrels. And then finally, over here on the right-hand side, we don't need anything above this hopper, so I'm just going to put some stripped spruce logs. And you'll notice I've got a whole bunch of cyan blocks here. You don't need to do that unless you are using item frames. I've just put them in to indicate that that is where the block will be to say what's in the chests, just so the storage system looks a little bit nicer as we continue to build. But you will just use a mishmash of different blocks for those sections. So now what we're going to do is just pretty up the tops of the chests. Now I'm going to put sea lanterns on top of each of these. I'm using sea lanterns because I can still open the chests. You don't have to use sea lanterns, you could just put slabs on top if you want to. But go ahead and do this all the way around. And once you've done that, we're just going to pretty up this a little bit. So I might put an extra cyan block there, and I'll just start putting upside down stairs all the way around. And when you get to the end, I might just put a extra strip spruce there. So that is my storage room design, but you can decorate it however you like. Okay, now we're going to do the optional system for a redstone lamp that will tell us when the system is running. So when the lamp's on, it just means don't leave the area, because if you do leave the area, this thing will likely break on you. So what we're going to do is come along to just in front of our door here, and we'll replace that block with our lamp, and then we're going to come underneath. And for the moment, I want you to ignore these ones where we sent the comparator out on an angle. We're just going to look at these comparators that are facing toward the center of our storage room. What we're going to do is in front of each of these, we're going to put an iron trapdoor with a repeater leading out from that comparator, and that will be on a 4-tick delay. And just go ahead and do these all the way around. And the reason we're using trapdoors is because we've got our little walkway here, and we want to be able to walk underneath. Okay, once you've got all your repeaters in, come along to the left-hand side, and in front of that trapdoor, we're going to place a slab, and we're just going to place slabs all the way along until we reach the final repeater. And then we will connect these repeaters with redstone dust running all the way along. And you'll notice now when you're walking along your walkway, that slab is in the way. So you can either duck under it if you want to, or you can just place 2 blocks right there. So then we are going to turn the corner and continue this. So we're going to run them in front of these trapdoors like so. So you'll need to connect it right there and just run these all the way along until we get to the final repeater, which is right there. And we're going to place redstone dust all the way along except for where our lamp is. You can see our redstone lamp there. Just put a block below it and then continue with your dust until you connect over here. But in this spot right here, we're going to want to place a repeater just to continue that signal along. And I should have done the same thing just over here. So the third one in, place a repeater as well. Then we're going to continue our slabs. So starting right here, we're just going to run them in front of these trapdoors. And once again, we're just going to connect these with redstone dust like so. And you'll notice in the other corner, this slab is now in the way as well. So you can place 2 blocks in there so you can still get around your walkway. Okay, so we have 4 of these comparators facing out to the side that aren't connected. The 2 at the back corners don't need to be connected, you can ignore them, but we do want to connect that one at the front and that one next to the output chest. So what we're going to do is in front of this comparator, we're going to place a block and then grab your slabs and continue this line down, and we're going to turn the corner here so it connects to that block. Then right here, we're going to do a repeater, and that needs to be on a 4-tick delay. And then we're also going to place another repeater right there. No need to put a delay on that one. Then we're just going to run redstone dust along and connect them like so. Now to connect the one at the back, what we're going to do is to save a little bit of space. Just underneath that dropper, I'm going to place a temporary slab, then one out the front and break that. And on top of that slab, we'll do a comparator facing away from the dropper. And then we'll put an iron trapdoor in front, and that will have a repeater on a 4-tick delay. And then you can just extend your slabs and place 3 redstone dust on top. And that is it. That is your storage system 100% complete. But I'll just give you a bit of troubleshooting information just in case you accidentally leave the area while this is running and you unload the chunks and break it. What'll happen then is you'll come back and you'll find that lamp is on when it shouldn't be because items are stuck in the system. So what you want to do is come down to your walkway below and just look for any of these copper bulbs that are turned off. They should all be on, but if one is turned off, it means that items are stuck in the dropper up here. So you can just take them out and you can press the button to make sure it clears out any of the items in there. And I just noticed a design flaw. Look what happens if you press the button. Breaks my repeater. So that's not good. So these, and that should be on a 4-tick delay. We'll put that back. So these buttons should actually be on the side. So I did that wrong. You might want to replace them, but hopefully you'll never need to use them. So just take any items out of the dropper and let this thing run and clear out the items, and then make sure it's turned off when you're finished. And the final thing to mention is to do with placing blocks beside our chests, particularly when you get to redstone. So this is my redstone chest. If I were to place a redstone block there to say that's redstone, then that block will actually lock that dropper in the dropper item elevator. So that's bad. We don't want that. So put some redstone ore in instead. And then for the chests, if you have one to say these are my redstone devices, if you were to put a piston there, that piston's going to be constantly getting powered and firing. So we don't want that either. So something like a target block would be better than a piston or a dropper. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoy your new multi-item sorter. And remember, absolutely all of my builds are available for download on my Patreon if you want to become a Patreon supporter. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.